Even now, I sometimes wake up with a start, as though in response to some inward prodding, and breathless with horror. I feel that I am literally rotting away from second to second. The air in the darkness is so still that losing their balance, torn from their moorings, the things of my world fly soundlessly about. In another minute, they'll come crashing down from all directions and smother me. In these tempests of dread, I become magnetic, like decaying animal, and quite otherwise than undirected pleasure, where all my feelings play together freely. I am attacked by an undirected, objective horror. A Sorrow Beyond Dreams by Peter Handke is a dystopian condemnation of the negative influence of his Austrian homeland on the life of the narrator's mother and his contribution to the events leading up to her suicide. Published in 1972, this is an exemplary of Handke's opus, and he is known for his experimental style. Peter Handke is a contemporary poet, novelist, essayist, and he also won the Nobel Prize in 2019. Nonetheless, he still remains a controversial figure, not because of his literary works, but for his political views, especially regarding the Yugoslav Wars and his support for Serbia. Anyways, separating art from the artist. This work is autobiographical metafiction and was written after Peter Handke's mother's death or her suicide. So similarly, in the book also, the narrator's mother attempts suicide, and which leads to her death, of course. She takes sleeping pills, I guess 100 or so, and she dies in her sleep due to reasons written in the book. Anyways, so we see that the narrator is trying to articulate his emotions in ways that is unorthodox. Is that the right word? Anyways, so he uses so after his mother's death, he seems to be overwhelmed with emotions that he cannot express, of course, and which is a little, let's say, it's not the usual form of grieving that normal people do. Like, he does not cry, or he does not grieve in ways that normal people do. So we see that he is very overwhelmed, and he does not know how to formulate his emotions and what to do. And so for weeks he just thinks about his mother, and eventually he decides to put his emotions into words, and so he begins writing as a way to articulate his emotions into words. Okay, so what he does is he tries to present this life of his mother that his mother had from an objective point of view, from detailing from starting from her childhood, her parents and how it was at home, from her homeland, um, the societal, why am I forgetting words? The societal oppressions during the time, and so he uses these he uses this so-called objective point of view to present his mom's wife, and uh, he presents to us so that we are the ones who can judge. So what happens, like throughout the book, he talks about how his mom had to deal with her existence, had to deal with her identity and the oppressive society, and how she was silenced and she was oppressed and marginalized, of course, being a woman, and how she fled from her birthplace and went elsewhere, and the start of World War II and how it impacted the political background of the time, and how it affected people and so on. So we see all of these, and we see her mom's lovers, or let's say lovers, and how she deals with grief, how she deals with identity, how she deals with love, how she deals with poverty, and eventually she marries, and we see her pitiful marriage and the downfalls of sad marriage. Anyways, so we see all that and what happens, and how she is how they are so what to say, so poor that even the necessities were presented as a gift. Like if you needed a clothing or a garment that had been torn for like a while, so they used to get that a new pant or so as a Christmas present. So they used to get the necessities, you get it as a Christmas present, because they were too poor, they can't buy it on a regular basis, so had to save up money and everything. So we see all of that. We see how she deals with the life, how she deals with everything, how she eventually starts reading, but something's happening. Let's not. Okay, so yeah, so how she starts reading, and what happens, and how reading affects her. We see all of that, and and then we see how she decides to die as a better option than living. And so she says this, that in a passage, that I'm not a human anymore, which was very heartbreaking and everything. So yeah, so she talks about the narrator talks about all of these things, and how everything, you get the point. So what I felt is this book, I felt this book is like astonishingly similar to Camus' The Stranger, in ways like of course there are differences, of course, everything, and how two different people, both of their mothers die. We see what was the name of the guy, Marceau. We see how Marceau's mother dies and how he deals with grief, and we see how here the narrator's mother dies and how he deals with grief. So there is this theme of identification, what individualism and existentialism and everything, and yeah, how two different people deal with grief, and we see how they introspect on their characters, and how um, they basically come to terms with it. If you ask me if you should read this book, I would say yes, you should read this book. It's about, it's very thin, and it's about 77 pages. It's just about 77 pages, and it's very easy. It's autobiographical, but it's just the right amount of fiction in it, and I feel like it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
At this point on, I just forgot how to speak English.
Reading Como Stranger and then reading Handke's A Sorrow Beyond Dreams, you get completely different perspectives. Like, they are on completely different parallels, and it's just beautiful. The way he describes his feeling and his torment, his grief, which is unusual in the sense of common people, societal norms, but how he thinks about his mother, or how he tries to objectively portray his mother. We see all of that. We see World War II and how it affected and everything, like I said. So it was absolutely beautiful. It was a short read, and it was just the right amount of everything. It was a beautiful amalgamation of fiction, autobiography, pain, love, life, absurdity, existentialism, individualism. Yeah, all of that. It was all of that. Okay, so regardless of everything, I feel like, regardless of his political views and everything, I feel like as a reader we should separate art from the artist. That is all. This is it, eh?